Hello, it's nice to be with you again. As you've seen from the title, you know what a lot of this is. There are a few other additional items that I didn't put in the title that we can, take a look at. Health-wise, I'm not particularly good at the moment. This is probably one of my better days, and it's just great that it's coincided with this. I want to stay in touch because I enjoy being with you and I also enjoy the hobby, and I want to get back to my normal self. But I want to be upfront with you and say that, the regularity of my videos might not be as good as they used to be, for a while, and still until I start ticking a few things down and feeling a bit better. But I just want to do as much as I can do, without constantly giving you these updates. Or I feel bad, I've got this coming up, I've got this hospital coming up. I don't want to be talking about that. I really don't. I mean, like all of you don't want to talk about that kind of thing. The thing that's drawn us together really is the hobby, and that's what I want to be talking about. But if you could just bear that in mind, that I might not always be as regular as I used to be with videos. There might be the odd drop off, and then I'll come back. But I don't want to make it, so I'm permanently having to say goodbye and hello and goodbye and hello. So I should just do what I can do, and we'll take it from there. Anyway, too much gabbling. I want to get on with what we've got here, because that's what we're here for. So, first box I'm going to open is this one. As you can see, I've already opened them because obviously you know what's inside. But I haven't. Having said that, other than just checking what I was expecting to come, I haven't really looked at anything else. In fact, these envelopes I haven't opened up. And I can see on this one, look, which is a nice thing that Warlord do. They always include a little extra freebie when you make an order. So let's see what this one is. I'm thinking not a bolt action sprue. No, it's definitely not a bolt action sprue. Let's have a look what it says on it. Napoleonic Hanoverian Line Infantry, from Warlord Games 2014. I'm not quite sure what particular game rules go with this. I have seen these, and I've had the odd one in the past, which I've tended to give away. But that's my freebie in this one. Right, this one is my German platoon commanders. Now you're going to know, because I've said what the main item is, why I've bought that. I wasn't going to build another army as such, and I'm going to build this as one that can be put together with different German armies that I've already got. But I bought this with the new veteran army in mind. So, as you can see, they're not metal figures anymore, and they do look well sculpted, to be fair, very well. So they're obviously going to be platoon leaders, or part of the officer command anyway for this army. So let's see if I can open it up. First one. Let's just tilt the light onto him a bit for you as well. Looks pretty good. Just a standard pose really. Little tiny bit needs trimming off on his helmet. But yeah, pleased with that one. Another one with the binoculars. They've both got binoculars so far. It's a nice, neat sculpt though. And it's nice that it's got, you know, what looks like some kind of packing crate or box with something in it. So, yep. Next one. No binoculars for this one. Just holding his machine gun. Nice little kit bag on the back. Again, a small bit to trim off there, but pretty pleased with that. I'll move him a bit further up the officer tree here, I think. He's obviously checking out his map book or something. But the detail look on the equipment is pretty good. A little bit to trim off on the top again. Oh, on the old though, pretty good. So they're going to be my commander force. Oops. Right. To one side. Put that to one side for a minute. And that one. And here's the main event for this part of the video. And this is the new German veteran infantry platoon. I was just intrigued with what I saw on these, to be honest, and the way that they've posed them. And that's what kind of drew me to it. And I thought, well, you know, I've got these Warlord vouchers to spend. I think I'll check out the new army. But I think these really, I mean, they'll fit very well into all the scenarios that I'm planning in Normandy. So, you know, pretty good. I was going to kind of stop with my Canadians because I've kind of felt that I've got most of what I need at the moment. But hey ho, you know how it goes. But I did think these were worth giving it a try anyway. I just like the appeal of the extra little pieces that you get on it, and the fact that it'd, you know, be something a bit new to add to the German army, or, you know, mix and match. Which ties in with the other thing that we'll look at later, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But I don't normally open them up for a start on, but I think, you know, if you've seen these being talked about and advertised, you know, you're going to be keen to see what they look like up close. So let's have a peek. Right. Yeah, things like that I found quite interesting. I mean, I've done similar things myself with, you know, just making it myself, but I just thought that was an interesting step forward on this set of figures. The fact that they've actually started to put that in. Let's get him open. As you can see, these are the two sprues. I'll show you the sprues themselves in a minute, but you can see there's plenty of heads to choose from, and obviously they've skipped this out onto the little extra sprue because obviously you've got some of these wall pieces and individual bricks and things that they've put into the main body of the sprue. Right. Have a look at the back. So what you're getting in here is you're getting 4 of the larger bases, obviously to build up the more posed ones, the machine guns. So that's good that they've sent them with it. And then on the littler sprues, look, as you can see, you've got all the additional bases that you need for the soldiers on there. And some really good head sculpts. Nice variety. I mean, the good thing about these is you can feed some of these heads into other armies. Because I don't know about you, but I like to try and make it, you know, as individual as I can. So my army looks a bit different from someone else's. Which is why I always try and personalise things. But this is going to give me even more options, really. And there's nothing to stop me introducing, you know, heads from, you know, the spares from other German outfits. So, you know, there's plenty of opportunity to make it yours, is what I'd say. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. Right, let's have a look at the sprue itself. As you can see, there's loads of little extras, and that's what really intrigued me when I saw it. The fact that you got so many options. Here's the individual brick things, look, just here. Flamethrower. MG40. Rifles. MP40s. See where else it'll tell you it on here, won't it? Yeah, you got an MG34, an MP40, KR98K rifle, let's have a look, what else is there? Luger, I've said flamethrower already. Yeah, I like that. It's plenty of choice. Plenty to mess around with there and make them a bit different. Lots of different bag setups as well. So yeah, pretty good. And I suspect there's going to be 5 because there's 5 at the other. Yeah. Really good. And the poses on the figures, yeah, they're a bit different. I mean, I've not seen that particular pose in that way before. I know a lot of them tend to be fairly, I mean, I've seen that on many a sprue. But, yeah, on the whole, I'm pretty pleased with it. Oh, there you got the back of the flamethrower there as well. With a canister on it. Can't remember what they're called, but let's have a look. Number 1, Feldgendarmerie Courgette. That's a new one. That must be for that variant that they're offering you to do as well. Right, yeah, pretty pleased with that. Of course, you've got your transfers. So, yeah, on the whole, I like the look of this. It's got a few little, you know, new elements to it, you know, as opposed to most of the bolt action sprues. I like the crispness of the design. They all look, you know, fairly well detailed. And so just have a quick look at one again and see, you know, how bad the flash is on any of them. I mean, you've got that faint line that you normally get down the leg, which really you can just take away with a knife or, you know, just rub it down. There's nothing to that. That's fairly standard fare. But other than that, I'm not seeing any significant things that are going to need cleaning up. I mean, that's simply just a mould line. And to be honest, that's bog standard fare on bolt action. So, well, it is on all figures, to be fair. So, yeah, pretty good. Right, let me get these out of the way and we'll have a look at these. Now, what I've done here is I've got some of these German decals, just basically so I can use them on various things. I just thought it'd be handy to have a set of them, really. I've got, if you recall, I got those real cheap trucks that I said I were going to have a look at. So obviously I'll use some of these on them probably if I do any of them up. But it's just a handy one to add to my collection. And it was during their Christmas sale that I looked at these things really, and that was one of them. And these, I kind of figured, you know, whenever I get a box of 30 figures, you know, to divide it out into platoons, I always end up needing just a few more. So I thought what I'd do, because these were on sale, at the time on the sale they were £2.50 each sprue. Now, admittedly, obviously they were selling these off because they're, you know, like a first issue design. You know, the ones where you've got to actually add the weapons to the hands as well, whereas now they tend to be moulded together. So obviously that's going to make them a little bit more fiddly, but it seemed an easy way really of perhaps adding any little extra groups of figures I needed to build up a, you know, a viable little army. You know, so for the two, that were £5. And then the same thing with some German weapons, you know, that I can add to them. That was £2.50 as well. So I thought, well, why not? I'd got, you know, a little bit of extra money, you know, that needed using up. So that's what I've done. And when I do build these up, they'll be kind of mixed in with these, if you like. So hopefully they'll be, you know, they'll blend in really well. And albeit they're a bit more fiddly to build, you shouldn't really notice it, really. So that was the reasoning behind that. So that's really the contents of the box. So if you just bear with me, I'll tidy all this away and then we'll have a look at the other box. Right, so I guess from the title you know what this is. The third edition of Armies of Germany. So let's get her open and take a look. I just took the leaflet out. Oh, I've got a freebie in here as well. I'll have a look at that at the end. Just out the way. I was looking forward to this. As I say, I did use last year's money, honest, to put a pre-order in for this. So it's not an additional buy. And there it is. I would imagine it's going to be on quite a few people's list to get anyway, to be fair. You got a bit of a read up on the German armed forces in World War II, 1939 to 41, 42 to 43, 44 to 45. You got a page or two on army special rules like Hitler's buzzsaw, blitzkrieg, initiative training, panzer ace, defend the fatherland, and then all the different types of squads that you can build, along with the artillery, vehicles, tank destroyers, self-propelled artillery, anti-aircraft vehicles, armoured cars, transports and tows, captured repurposed tanks, tank destroyers and assault guns, self-propelled artillery, armoured cars again, transports and tows, and then some sample armies, including Blitzkrieg Force, Fallschirmjäger Force, Afrika Korps, Waffen SS, Late War Force, and force selection guides for infantry, army and vehicle units. It's a good read up, and I would imagine it's one that you can just dip into and read and find something interesting or give you a direction. To be fair, I did use the second edition one quite a lot really when I was building my initial German forces, but obviously with this being written with the new rules in mind, it seemed a good way to jump into it and find out any differences or changes. Again, fairly well illustrated. So, some good uniform illustrations as well, which is always handy, for when you're painting them up. Because although I like the little guide that they give, it's nice to have a look at, real uniforms and, these type of illustrations. Gives you a good idea on positioning of equipment as well. Oh, army lists. Oh, that's the special rules section. Headquarter units, officers, medics, chaplains. Panzer Grenadier Squad. I must admit, I'm looking to dig my head in this one. It's I can only really give you the briefest of hints of what it's like, but I think you can see there's some really good reading material in here. I'm looking forward to looking at it. I mean that's good coming from me, because with the rules thing, I've not got so far into the new rules yet, because obviously with these headaches I'm finding it really difficult to read. But as soon as I start turning the corner, and hopefully I am doing, I shall certainly be burying myself in these books when I'm not at the table working on something. And by the looks of it, I should be using them for, consulting, with regard to how I build my army and what I want it to look like in the end. And making sure that I'm keeping it accurate as well. Pioneer squads. Panzerschreck and anti-tank teams. Goliath Demolition Team. Radio controlled track bomb. That's a different one. I haven't seen them yet. I know they're probably out there and I've just not seen it, but yeah, look, plenty of illustrations on the read-ups on the different tanks and vehicles as well. So you've got all of their damage values and weapon options. I'd love to get to that stage, you know. I don't know whether, well, I think we all do ultimately, is to really kind of tailor the army to the way we want it. I'd like to get to that stage where I'm not buying so many figures, but I'm just tweaking the armies I've got by, oh, I'll add one of them in, and that'll give it a different element in gameplay. Because I've been, you know, since I first got into bolt action through the, you know, terrain stuff that I do, I kind of ran at it really, and, you know, just went for all the generic things, but that's when I started wanting to personalise it. And I've always thought it'd be nice when you get to that stage where you're kind of happy with what you've got, but then every now and again you see something new come out and you think, oh yeah, I could work that into the unit. And that's really where I want to be ultimately. It's just I've gone the long way around. As you know, I've been into various theatres throughout the war, and, you know, I've gone off at tangents really. But I suppose that's what you do when you just have a burst of enthusiasm for the hobby. But now I'm getting more, you know, specific, you know, particularly with just sticking in Normandy and D-Day, and it's allowing me to kind of think more detailed, if you like. Although I'm not trying to cover so many things, it gives me more time to learn about the period that I'm looking at and what I want to specialise in. And having all of this information up to date as well for the new rules is going to be great. I do miss some of my winter stuff. I really do. I really did enjoy building them, but I can find that enthusiasm again through, you know, really working on this passion for Normandy. But as you can see, there's a wealth of information in here. And it seems, you know, for odd bits that are catching my eye on the read-ups, it does look, you know, very readable. You know, one that you can just dip in and read the bit that you want, and then, you know, come back to it later and look at something else. Obviously, there's going to be bits for me, you know, I'm not looking at desert warfare, I'm not looking at winter warfare. So it, you know, it is one that I can just dip into for exactly what I want. Early war force selection guide, mid-war force selection guide, and the late war force selection guide. Got here. Not properly explored the Warlord Games app. I did briefly have a trial on it, but as I say, my health was already giving, so I thought I'm not going to pay for it now while I'm not going to be using it. But any feedback on it, if any of you are using it, I'd love to hear, you know, what you think of it and whether it's, you know, useful. But certainly, I do like the look of this book. I'm not regretting this purchase at all. In fact, I can already feel myself wanting to get on with things, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to take my time on that one, I think. Oh, I'll put it there for now. Well, let's have a look what we've got in here then. Thank you for your order. I've added a small freebie, which I hope you enjoy. Yeah, of course it is. German Grenadiers, World War II. Well, I'm sure they're going to come in handy at some point somewhere. Even if it's to just use the different arms and equipment. In fact, I could probably use some of the arms and equipment on those early ones that I got for £2.50. It's always handy to have all the, all the little leftovers. They take up a lot of room. I mean, I've got a shelf full of them now. But I must admit, I have started dipping in it a lot more than I used to. And it's been really helpful. So don't throw away those, leftovers, because they're well worth keeping. Yeah. So that was a nice little extra. I much prefer that to something, from a different game altogether. So on the whole, I have to say I'm really impressed with the book, Armies of Germany, 3rd edition, and I really do like the look of the new veteran army, German army. They're going to be an interesting build. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to them yet, but I will bring you along when I do tackle those and start building them. Because yeah, they look a bit interesting and a little bit different to some of the other sprue sets that I've seen. Speaking of which, with this book, there's supposed to be an extra, isn't there? There's supposed to be, yeah, here it is. Nearly missed it. It comes with a special figure. Armies of Germany 3rd edition. Joseph Sepp Allenberger. Allerberger. Shall I get it out? It'll be easier to see, won't it? It's a bit wobbly on the bottom because he's got a bit that needs taking off. And it comes with, I'm not quite sure how this fits on yet, but obviously it's some kind of camouflage. I'd have to have a look at the picture, but not quite sure. I think I've heard the name, but I'm not quite sure of his story, so I'd have to do a bit of read up on him and see how he could be, whether he can be screened into some of my armies, or whether I'll just end up using him as a generic German sniper, because essentially that's what he is. The details are pretty good. And a little bit to trim off there, a bit to sand off the bottom, but I mean, you can even see the tread on his boots. It's really good. So I'm pleased with that. I suspect I'll end up using him as a generic, but I will read up on the chap and just see whether he's something that I could fit into, one of my scenarios somewhere. I'll have to have, like I say, I'll have to have a look at it to see how this fits in place. Hang on, would that be more it? No, I'll have to have a look at that. seems strange how that almost fits into that gap, but well, it could be like that. I have to have a look at that. So that's what the special figure looks like that you get with it. Right, I think it's time we wrap this one up. Just bear with me, I'll get this all cleared away. Right, well, thanks for joining me. I hope you found that interesting, and I'll look forward to, obviously, at some point bringing these in front of the camera, and we can have a closer look then. As I said in the previous video, I'm really looking now to get cracking on working on what I've got, and you know, get towards some action and some games and things. That's what I want to do. Even if it takes the rest of this year to do it, I'm going to be working on that, providing my health holds out and things go better, and hopefully they will. Anyway, thanks again for joining me. If you have liked it, please consider giving me a thumbs up, and if you want to see more like this, you know, please consider subscribing and clicking that bell so you get a notification when I do one. Right, thanks again, and I'll see you soon. Bye.